The Korean mafia heir burst into laughter. Are you seriously telling me I'm the father? But 5 years later, when he saw the 8-year-old twins, his expression froze completely. He laughed when she told him she was pregnant. 5 years later, he saw his own eyes staring back at him, in twins who could sense danger before it struck. The Korean mafia heir had built an empire on secrets. But this one would bring him to his knees. Because some bloodlines don't just carry power, they carry prophecy. And his children? They inherited more than his name. Welcome back to Stories Where Power Meets Passion. Today's tale will break your heart and rebuild it stronger. A Korean mafia heir, twin children with impossible gifts, and the woman who changed everything. Hit subscribe so you never miss a story that reminds you love is the most dangerous weapon of all. The rain fell like confessions that night, soft, inevitable, unwanted. Jin-woo sat in the private room of his family's restaurant, the one tourists never found, where deals were sealed in whispers and blood never stained the white tablecloths because problems were handled elsewhere. At 29, he'd inherited more than his father's empire. He'd inherited the gift, the knowing that crawled up his spine seconds before bullets flew, the whisper in his blood that kept him alive when smarter men died. Another, he said, and the waitress appeared. She was new. Dark skin that caught the amber light like polished mahogany, eyes that held something he couldn't name. Not fear. He was used to fear. Something steadier. Stronger. She poured his whiskey without trembling. Most people shook in his presence. She simply existed, occupying space like she had every right to it. "What's your name?" he asked, though he never asked. Amara. Her accent wrapped around the syllables like silk. Nigerian, he thought. Or Ghanaian. Somewhere that taught women to stand tall, even when the world pressed down. 3 months later, she stood before him again, but not as a waitress. "I'm pregnant," she said simply, no preamble, no tears. Just fact delivered like a business transaction. Jin-woo laughed. The sound echoed off marble walls, bitter and sharp. "You're telling me I'm the father?" He leaned back, studying her like a problem to be solved. "Do you know how many women have tried this? How many have stood exactly where you're standing, thinking a bastard child is a lottery ticket?" Her face didn't change. That's what unsettled him, the absolute stillness of her expression. "I'm not asking for anything," Amara said quietly. "I'm telling you because you have a right to know. What you do with that information is your choice." "My choice?" He stood, and she didn't step back. Didn't flinch. "My choice is to call security. My choice is to make sure you understand what happens to people who try to manipulate me." "I'm not manipulating you." Her hand rested on her still flat stomach. "I'm giving you the truth. You can call it a lie if that helps you sleep at night." Something in his chest tightened. The gift, maybe, warning him of danger. But not the kind that came with guns. "Get out," he said. "And if I see you again, if you breathe a word of this to anyone, you'll learn exactly what my family does to liars." She left without another word, her dignity intact, her spine straight. He told himself he'd never think of her again. He was wrong about many things that night, but mostly he was wrong about her. 5 years passed like a held breath finally released. Jin-woo's empire had grown. The Korean syndicate now controlled shipping routes from Busan to Los Angeles, laundered money through tech startups and luxury real estate. His younger brother handled enforcement. His cousin managed political connections. Jin-woo orchestrated everything from the shadows, the way their grandfather had taught him. He was untouchable. Until the day he saw them. The private school his organization partially funded, legitimate business, good optics, was hosting a charity event. Jin-woo attended because appearances mattered, because powerful men showed their faces at functions where other powerful men gathered. He was reviewing security positions when he felt it. The gift, screaming. Not danger. Recognition. 2 children stood near the refreshment table. Twins, maybe 8 years old. The boy wore a small suit that somehow didn't look ridiculous on his serious face. The girl had cornrows woven with gold thread, her dress a deep purple that demanded attention. They turned simultaneously as if they'd heard their names called. Jinwoo's breath stopped. They had his eyes. Not the color. Hers were deep brown. His were lighter. But the expression. The ancient knowledge that didn't belong in children's faces. The awareness of things that hadn't happened yet. The gift. His gift reflected back at him in duplicate. "Mr. Kang?" His assistant touched his arm. "Are you all right?" He wasn't. His pulse hammered against his ribs like fists on a door. His hands felt numb. Then she appeared. Amara, wearing a simple black dress that somehow outshone every designer gown in the room. She moved between her children, placing protective hands on their shoulders. Her eyes met his across the crowded hall. No surprise, no triumph. Just that same steady strength he remembered from 5 years ago. She'd known. She'd known he'd be here, or known they'd cross paths eventually. And she hadn't run. Hadn't hidden. She'd simply waited. "Mommy," the little girl said, loud enough for him to hear, "that man is staring at us." "I know, baby." Amara's voice carried across the space between them. "It's rude to stare, isn't it?" The boy didn't speak. He just watched Jinwoo with eyes that saw too much. Then, impossibly, the child tilted his head and whispered something to his sister. She nodded gravely. They both stepped in front of their mother. 2 8-year-olds, positioning themselves as shields. Not because anyone had taught them, because they knew. The gift told them their father was dangerous, so they stood between him and the woman who'd raised them. Jinwoo's world tilted on its axis. He'd built an empire on control, on knowing 3 steps ahead of everyone else, on never being surprised. But this, his own blood, his own curse, living and breathing and protecting someone from him, this he'd never seen coming. "Sir?" His assistant's voice seemed to come from very far away. "Should I have security escort them out?" "No." The word came out rough, strange. "No, leave them." He watched as Amara guided her children, his children, toward the exit. Watched as the boy looked back one more time, his expression unreadable. Watched as his entire carefully constructed world began to crack. Because the gift was never wrong. And right now, it was telling him that everything was about to change. Jinwoo didn't go home that night. He sat in his car outside the venue for 2 hours after everyone had left, his hands gripping the steering wheel until his knuckles went white. His mind raced through possibilities, calculations, threats. His security team texted increasingly worried messages. His brother called 3 times. He ignored everything. The twins had his gift. Which meant they were targets. Every enemy he'd ever made, every rival family, every ambitious lieutenant who thought they could climb by cutting down the king. They'd all see those children as leverage. And Amara had raised them alone, protected them alone. For 5 years, while he'd built empires and crushed opposition, and never once wondered if his cruelty that night had created something irreversible. His phone buzzed with a number he didn't recognize. "You know where we live. You probably knew an hour after you saw us. If you're going to have us killed, do it cleanly. They don't deserve to be afraid." Amara. Direct, unflinching, even now. Jinwoo stared at the message until his vision blurred. She thought he'd kill them, his own children. Because that's what men like him did. Eliminated complications, removed liabilities, solved problems with violence. She wasn't entirely wrong to think it. But she was wrong about what he'd choose. He typed back, "Tomorrow. The cafe near the park on 3rd Street. Noon. Come alone." Her response came immediately. "No. If you want to talk, you come to us. And the children stay in the room. They deserve to hear whatever you're going to say." Bold, foolish, magnificent. He almost smiled. Fine. The apartment was small but immaculate, filled with books and children's artwork and the smell of something baking. Jinwoo felt absurdly large in the doorway, like violence incarnate trying to fit into a space built for gentleness. The twins sat on the sofa, identical expressions of solemn assessment. Amara stood between them and Jinwoo, arms crossed. "Say what you came to say," she told him. Jinwoo had negotiated with cartel leaders and Russian oligarchs, had stared down men who'd killed for less than a perceived slight, But facing this woman and these children, he felt something close to fear. "I was wrong," he said, "because what else was there? 5 years ago, I was wrong." "You were cruel," Amara corrected. "Wrong implies a mistake. You chose cruelty." The boy, his son, spoke for the first time. "You laughed at her. Not a question, a statement, an accusation." "Yes." Jinwoo met his son's eyes, saw himself reflected back. "I did." "Why?" the girl asked, her voice small but steady. "How did you explain empire to a child? How did you say that love was weakness, that attachment was a blade at your throat, that his world devoured soft things?" "Because I was afraid," he said instead, and the truth of it settled in his chest like stones. Amara's expression shifted slightly, surprise maybe, or reassessment. "You have my gift," Jinwoo continued, addressing the twins directly. "You feel danger before it comes, yes?" They nodded in unison, a movement so synchronized it made his heart ache. "That gift makes you targets. Every person who wants to hurt me will eventually learn about you. And they will try to use you against me or against your mother or—" He stopped, breathed. "I can protect you. My family can protect you. But that means entering my world. A world your mother very wisely kept you from. We don't need your protection," his daughter said, fierce and small. "We have Mommy." "I know." Jinwoo's throat felt tight. "But your mother shouldn't have to protect you alone, not from what's coming." "What's coming?" Amara's voice had gone very quiet. He looked at her, this woman who'd faced him twice now without flinching, and told her the truth. "War. My uncle is making moves. The Chinese syndicate is pushing into our territory. The Russians want what we have. And now—" He gestured helplessly at the twins. "Now I have a weakness. The moment word spreads that I have children, everything I've built becomes a weapon pointed at them." Silence filled the small apartment. Then his son stood, walked directly to Jinwoo, and looked up at him with ancient eyes. "You feel it too," the boy said softly. "Right now, the bad thing that's coming." Jinwoo knelt, bringing himself to his son's eye level. "Yes," he whispered. "I feel it." "Will you hurt us?" his daughter asked from the sofa. "No." The word came out like a vow. "Never." "Will you hurt Mommy?" He looked at Amara, at the woman who'd carried his children and raised them alone, and built a life from nothing, and something in his chest cracked open. "No," he said again. "Not anymore." The twins exchanged one of their silent communications, then nodded together. "Okay," his son said simply. "You can stay." As if it were that easy. As if 5 years of absence could be forgiven with a child's permission. But maybe it was a start. Jinwoo looked at Amara, saw the war happening behind her eyes. Fear and hope and fury and something softer she wouldn't name. "I can't promise I'll be good at this," he told her quietly, for her ears alone. "I don't know how to be. This." "This?" she repeated. "A father. He stopped, because he didn't know what they were to each other. Only that the thought of walking away now felt like dying. "Then learn," Amara said simply. "You built an empire. Surely you can figure out how to be human." It should have sounded cruel. Instead, it sounded like a dare. Like hope. Like a line being crossed that could never be uncrossed. Outside, the city hummed with ordinary danger. Inside, Jinwoo knelt before his children and began the impossible work of becoming someone worthy of them. The gift whispered that this choice would cost him everything. For once, he didn't care. The first attempt came on a Tuesday. Jinwoo had moved them, Amara and the twins, into a secured building his family owned. Not his penthouse. Not yet. Somewhere neutral, where bodyguards could monitor every entrance and exit without making the children feel like prisoners. Amara had resisted. Of course she had. "We have a life," she'd said, standing in her small apartment surrounded by boxes she refused to pack. "School, friends, routines. You can't just uproot them because you're suddenly afraid." "I've always been afraid," he'd replied quietly. I just didn't know what I had to lose. Something in his voice must have reached her, because she'd finally nodded. But her eyes held a warning. This doesn't mean forgiveness. This doesn't mean trust. He didn't expect either. He just needed them alive. The twins had adapted with unsettling ease, as if they'd been preparing their whole lives for this shift. His son, Jiho, named for Amara's father, studied the security protocols with intense focus. His daughter, Zara, a name that meant princess in Arabic, had memorized every guard's face within a day. Jinwoo watched them and saw himself at their age, hyper-vigilant, always calculating, never quite able to be a child. It broke something in him he didn't know could still break. He was reviewing security footage when Jiho appeared in the doorway of the apartment's office. The boy moved silently, another trait inherited from bloodline and necessity. Something's wrong, Jiho said simply. Jinwoo's gift flared in recognition. You feel it? It's loud today. Like screaming, but quiet. The boy struggled for words. It's coming soon. They'd been doing this for 2 weeks now, comparing notes, learning the language of their shared curse. Jiho's gift manifested differently, sharper but less specific. Zara's came in dreams, prophetic and terrifying. Together, they formed a web of awareness Jinwoo had never experienced before. Where's your sister? Jinwoo asked, already moving. With Mom, in the kitchen, but... Jiho grabbed his father's sleeve. It's not here. It's outside, moving closer. Jinwoo's phone buzzed. His head of security. Sir, we have a situation. Black SUV circling the block. No plates. 3 occupants. Lockdown protocol, Jinwoo ordered into the phone. Then, to his son, get your mother and sister into the safe room. Now. Jiho didn't argue, didn't ask questions. He simply ran. Jinwoo watched the security feeds as his team moved into position. The SUV had stopped 2 blocks away. 3 men emerged, dressed like contractors, carrying toolboxes that definitely didn't contain tools. His uncle's people. He recognized the walk of one, a lieutenant who'd been pushing for Jinwoo's removal for months. They weren't here to kidnap. They were here to send a message. Jinwoo's hand moved to the gun in his desk drawer, then stopped. He thought of Zara asking if he'd hurt them, of Jiho's solemn trust, of Amara's words. Surely you can figure out how to be human. He made a different call. Hyung, his brother answered immediately. I see them. Non-lethal takedown, Jinwoo said. I want them alive. I want them scared. And I want Uncle to know exactly what happens when he threatens my family. The word felt strange in his mouth. Family. Not assets. Not complications. Family. You're going soft, his brother observed, but there was approval in his tone. Maybe. Handle it. The next 15 minutes passed in slow motion. Jinwoo stood in the safe room doorway, watching Amara hold both twins against her body, their faces pressed into her shoulders. She met his eyes over their heads, and in that look was everything they'd never said. This is your world. This is what you brought us into. Are you sure this is what you want for them? He wasn't sure of anything except that losing them would destroy him more completely than any bullet. His phone buzzed with confirmation. Targets neutralized, being transported to a secure location for conversation. Jinwoo exhaled slowly. It's over. You're safe. Zara lifted her head first. For now. She was 8 years old and spoke like someone who'd lived 1,000 lives. Yes, he admitted, because lying would insult her. For now. That night, after the twins finally slept, Amara found him on the balcony. The city sprawled below them, lights like fallen stars, each one representing lives he'd never know, problems he'd never solve. How many more times? She asked quietly. How many more for nows until it becomes forever? I don't know. Jinwoo kept his eyes on the horizon. My uncle won't stop. He sees the twins as proof I'm compromised. Weak. Are you? She stepped closer, her warmth cutting through the night chill. Compromised? He turned to face her finally. This woman who'd survived his cruelty and his absence and his dangerous world without losing her spine. Completely, he said. Utterly. From the moment I saw them standing in front of you, trying to protect you from me. Amara's breath caught. Jin-woo. I built everything on the foundation of having nothing to lose, he continued, words spilling out like confessions. No weakness, no attachment, just empire and power and the knowledge that I'd die before I'd bend. But now... He gestured helplessly back toward the apartment where his children slept. Now I'd burn it all. Every building, every alliance, every dollar. I'd watch my empire crumble to ash if it meant they got to grow up safe. That's called being a father, Amara said softly. No. Jinwoo shook his head. That's called being terrified. I know how to handle enemies. I know how to handle betrayal and violence and war. But this... He looked at her, really looked at her. You did this alone for 5 years. You raised them without my money or my name or my protection. How? She smiled, sad and small. Love makes you braver than you think you can be, and more tired than you can imagine. I'm sorry. The words felt inadequate, too small for the weight they carried. For that night, for laughing, for making you walk out of that room thinking you were alone. I was alone. Not accusatory, just fact. Not anymore. Jinwoo reached for her hand, half expecting her to pull away. She didn't. Her fingers curled around his, warm and solid and real. I can't undo 5 years. I can't give you back the nights you stayed up alone, or the fear you must have felt, or the weight of doing this by yourself. But I'm here now. And I'm not laughing. Amara studied his face like she was searching for lies, for the trap, for the inevitable betrayal. They love you already, she whispered. That's what terrifies me. You could break their hearts just as easily as you could protect them. I know. He squeezed her hand gently. So I won't. You can't promise that. Your world doesn't allow promises. Then I'll remake my world. Jinwoo pulled her closer, until her forehead rested against his chest, until he could feel her heartbeat against his ribs. I've spent my entire life building something that makes me powerful. Maybe it's time I build something that makes me human. She didn't cry, didn't collapse, just breathed against him while the city hummed its violent lullaby below. This doesn't fix everything, Amara said into his shirt. I know. And I'm still angry with you. You should be. But... She pulled back to look at him. I'm glad you're here. The twins need their father. Even if he's a terrifying crime lord who's probably made 100 terrible decisions. 1,000, Jinwoo corrected with the ghost of a smile. At least 1,000. She laughed, surprised and soft, and the sound did something to his chest that felt like healing. Inside, one of the twins called out in their sleep. Amara moved to go check, but Jinwoo stopped her. Let me, he said. He found Zara tangled in sheets, her face scrunched in concentration, dreaming. The gift, showing her things that hadn't happened yet. Jinwoo sat on the edge of her bed and gently smoothed her cornrows back from her forehead. Shh, princess, he whispered in Korean, then in English. You're safe. I'm here. You're safe. She settled without waking, her small hand reaching out to grip his finger with surprising strength. Jiho's voice came from the other bed. You speak Korean to her when you think we're sleeping. You should be sleeping, Jinwoo replied softly. So should you. His son sat up, rubbing his eyes. The bad feeling is quieter now. You made it better. For tonight. That's enough. Jiho lay back down. Mom says you can't live in tomorrow's problems, just today's. Your mother is wise. Yeah. A pause. Are you going to marry her? Jinwoo blinked, caught completely off guard. We haven't... Because if you're going to be our dad, you should probably marry her. That's what dads do, right? It's more complicated than that. Why? Jiho's voice held genuine confusion. You love her. She loves you even though she's mad. We're already a family. Marriage is just the paperwork. Just the paperwork. As if anything in Jinwoo's world was ever that simple. But maybe his son was right. Maybe he'd spent so long complicating everything that he'd forgotten simple truths. Go to sleep, Jinwoo said, but his voice was gentle. We'll figure it out. Okay. Jiho closed his eyes, then opened them one more time. Dad? The word hit Jinwoo like a bullet to the chest. Good, perfect, terrifying. Yes? I'm glad you came back. Jinwoo's throat closed. He managed. Me too, son. Me too. He stayed there until both twins slept soundly, then returned to find Amara still on the balcony. Jiho thinks I should marry you, he announced. She turned, eyebrows raised. Does he now? He says it's just paperwork. And what do you say? Jinwoo crossed to her, cupped her face in his hands, and kissed her the way he should have 5 years ago. Like she was precious, like she was chosen, like she was the empire he'd been building toward all along. When he pulled back, her eyes were bright with unshed tears. I say, he whispered against her lips, that I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving he's right. The city glittered below them, dangerous and beautiful, full of threats they'd faced together. And for the first time in Jinwoo's entire violent life, he felt something that might have been peace. The war came faster than even the gift predicted. Jinwoo's uncle made his move during the quarterly family council, a gathering where the syndicate's leaders discussed territory, profits, and the 1,000 small violences that kept their empire running. Tradition demanded Jinwoo attend. Tradition also demanded he come alone, unarmed, protected only by the ancient codes of family honor. Tradition was about to get him killed. You've changed, his uncle observed, sipping tea in the private room where Korea's criminal elite gathered. Softer? Distracted? I'm exactly what I've always been, Jinwoo replied calmly, though his gift screamed warnings. No. His uncle set down his cup with deliberate care. You've become a father, and fathers make decisions with their hearts instead of their heads. The room went very quiet. 12 men, all watching, all calculating which side would win this power play. My children are not your concern, Jinwoo said. But they are. His uncle smiled without warmth. Children with the gift. Twins. Do you know how rare that is? How valuable? The families in Seoul are very interested. The Chinese sent inquiries. Even the Russians want to know if the rumors are true. Ice flooded Jinwoo's veins. If anyone touches them, you'll what? Burn the world? His uncle laughed. You can't, because burning the world means burning them too. That's what makes you weak now. You have something to lose. Jinwoo's hand itched for a weapon he didn't carry. His mind raced through scenarios, exits, solutions. His phone sat silent in his pocket. Amara didn't know about this meeting. He'd kept it from her deliberately, not wanting her to worry. Stupid. Sentimental. Weak. His uncle continued. I'm offering you a choice. Step down. Retire quietly. Take your little family and disappear somewhere we'll never look. Or refuse. He gestured to the assembled leaders. And we vote, right here, right now, on new leadership. You don't have the votes, Jinwoo said, but his gift told him otherwise. Don't I? His uncle's smile widened. You've been absent, distracted, playing house with your African whore and her... Jinwoo moved before thought could stop him. His hand closed around his uncle's throat, slamming him back against the wall with enough force to crack plaster. Finish that sentence, Jinwoo whispered, and I'll kill you with my bare hands in front of everyone. Guns appeared. 6 bodyguards, all pointing at Jinwoo's head. But Jinwoo didn't release his grip, didn't blink, just held his uncle's gaze while the older man's face turned purple. You can vote me out, Jinwoo said clearly, addressing the room while his hand tightened. You can take my territory, my businesses, my title. But my family is not part of this world. They are not negotiating pieces. They are not leverage. And anyone who forgets that will learn exactly why my father chose me to inherit his empire. He released his uncle, who collapsed coughing. Jinwoo straightened his suit jacket, turned his back on the guns, a calculated show of fearlessness, and walked toward the door. We vote tonight, his uncle rasped behind him. And when you lose, those children become syndicate property, insurance, to make sure you don't retaliate. Jinwoo stopped, turned. smiled the smile that had terrified better men than his uncle. Then I guess I better not lose. He called his brother from the car. How bad? Bad. Uncle's been working the other families for months. He has 7 votes, maybe 8. I need 9 to maintain control. Yes. Jinwoo's mind worked through the problem like a chess game. Money wouldn't sway them. They all had money. Threats wouldn't work. He'd lose the vote immediately. Fear was useless without the power to back it up, which left only one option. Set up a meeting, Jinwoo said quietly, with the Chinese. Tonight. His brother's silence spoke volumes. Then, "You're insane. Uncle will call that treason." Uncle's already committed treason. I'm just playing the game better. And if the Chinese demand too much? Jinwoo thought of Jiho's solemn trust, Zara's fierce protection, Amara's steady strength. Then I pay it, he said simply. Set up the meeting. He didn't go home first, couldn't risk bringing that danger to their door. Instead, he met the Chinese representative, a woman named Chen who controlled half the smuggling routes in Asia, in a neutral warehouse his brother secured. Mr. Kang. Chen's English was flawless. Her suit probably cost more than most cars. You must be desperate to request this meeting. I'm practical, Jinwoo corrected. You want access to our American distribution network. I want insurance against a family coup. We help each other. And what makes you think I haven't already made arrangements with your uncle? Because my uncle thinks like it's still 1995. He doesn't understand that the future belongs to people who can adapt, who can see past old grudges and traditional territories. Jinwoo met her eyes steadily. You don't want him in charge. He's predictable, rigid. I'm offering you a partnership with someone who understands that empires survive by evolving. Chen studied him like a specimen under glass. I heard you have children now. The rumors say they have gifts, abilities. Jinwoo's blood went cold, but his face remained calm. My children are not part of any business arrangement. Of course not. Chen smiled slightly. I'm simply noting that a man with children makes different calculations than a man with nothing to lose. Some would say that makes you weak. I say it makes you predictable in useful ways. Is that a yes or a no? It's a conditional yes. She pulled out a tablet, slid it across the table. These are my terms. You'll find them. Expensive, but fair. Jinwoo scanned the document. 3 years of exclusive shipping rights. 40% reduction in territory fees. Access to his money laundering infrastructure. It would cost him millions. Would anger allies. Would reshape the power balance of the entire West Coast. Done, he said without hesitation. Chen's eyebrows rose slightly. You don't want to negotiate? My uncle votes tonight. I don't have time to negotiate. These terms are acceptable. Do we have a deal? She laughed, surprised and genuine. You really have changed. The old Jinwoo would have spent 3 days haggling over percentages. The old Jinwoo didn't have children who inherit his enemies. Jinwoo signed the tablet with his fingerprint. Do we have a deal? Yes. Chen stood, offering her hand. And, Mr. Kang? For what it's worth, I think fatherhood suits you. You seem almost human now. Don't spread that rumor, Jinwoo replied, shaking her hand. It'll ruin my reputation. The vote happened at midnight, in the same room where his uncle had threatened him. Jinwoo entered to find the council assembled, his uncle already at the head of the table, a calculated insult, sitting in the leader's chair. You're late, his uncle observed. I was conducting business. Jinwoo remained standing. Before we vote, I have an announcement. I've finalized a partnership with the Chen family. Effective immediately, we have exclusive access to their Pacific routes and a guaranteed 20% increase in shipping profits. The room erupted in murmurs. The Chen family was legendary, untouchable, powerful, notoriously selective about partnerships. His uncle's face went pale. You had no authority. I have every authority. I'm still the head of this family, until you vote me out. Jinwoo smiled coldly. Of course, if you do vote me out, that partnership disappears. Chen specifically negotiated with me, not the position, me. So you'll need to ask yourselves, is your wounded pride worth 20% of your annual income? He watched the calculation happen in real time. Greed versus loyalty. Profit versus tradition. His uncle stood abruptly. This is manipulation. This is leadership, Jinwoo interrupted. The kind of leadership that builds empires instead of protecting them out of ego. He addressed the room directly. My uncle claims I'm weak because I have a family. I say having something to protect makes me fight smarter. Harder. Because I know exactly what I stand to lose. One of the older council members spoke up. And if we vote for you? What happens to your uncle? Jinwoo looked at his uncle, saw the fear beneath the anger, and made a choice that would have been impossible 6 months ago. He retires with his honor intact, Jinwoo said quietly, with a generous pension and protection for his immediate family. Because we're family, and I don't punish family for ambition. I just don't reward it with my throne. Mercy. In his world, it was a radical act. The vote was called, 9-3 in Jinwoo's favor. His uncle left without a word, but his eyes promised this wasn't over. Jinwoo didn't care. He'd won. His family was safe. For now. He found Amara still awake when he finally made it home at 3 a.m. She sat in the dark living room, a cup of cold tea on the table beside her. The twins? He asked. Asleep. Zara had nightmares about you. Men with guns. A vote. Her voice was carefully neutral. Want to tell me what happened? Jinwoo sat beside her, suddenly exhausted. I almost lost everything tonight. But you didn't. No. But the cost... He ran his hands through his hair. I gave away parts of my empire to keep you safe. Made deals that will reshape everything we've built. And I'd do it again. I'd do it 1,000 times. Amara took his hand, threading her fingers through his. That's called priorities, Jinwoo. It's called being human. I don't know how to be this, he admitted. This man who cares more about his children's nightmares than his empire's profits. It's terrifying. Good. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Means you're doing it right. They sat in the dark together, two people building something fragile and precious in a world designed to destroy softness. And Jinwoo realized his uncle had been wrong. Love hadn't made him weak. It had made him dangerous in entirely new ways. 3 months passed in something that almost resembled peace. Jinwoo learned fatherhood the way he'd once learned the family business, through immersion, observation, and accepting he'd never stop making mistakes. He attended parent-teacher conferences and studied the gift with his children, and discovered that building blanket forts required the same strategic thinking as hostile takeovers. The syndicate adapted to his new priorities with varying degrees of grace. Some respected his choice, others saw weakness they'd eventually exploit. Jinwoo let them think what they wanted. True power wasn't controlling everything, it was knowing what mattered most and protecting it absolutely. What mattered most was currently at the dining table, arguing about homework. But it doesn't make sense, Zara insisted. Why find X? X is clearly hiding for a reason. Maybe X doesn't want to be found. Jiho rolled his eyes. It's algebra, not a mystery novel. X isn't hiding, it's a variable. Everything is a mystery if you think hard enough, Zara countered. Amara caught Jinwoo's eye, her smile soft. Your daughter has interesting logic. She gets that from you, Jinwoo replied. The stubbornness is definitely from you. This ordinary moment, homework battles and dinner preparation, was what he'd almost lost. What every enemy would eventually target. His phone buzzed. His brother. Uncle's people making noise in Koreatown. Might be set up for something bigger. Jinwoo typed back. Handle it quietly. I'm not leaving tonight. He pocketed the phone and returned to the twins. Jiho explained fractions while Zara doodled in her notebook margins. Stars, flowers, and what looked suspiciously like knives. What are those? Jinwoo asked. Zara looked up, suddenly guarded. Nothing, just pictures. But Jinwoo recognized the shapes. Weapons, defenses. The gift, showing her dangers she didn't have words for yet. He sat beside her, keeping his voice gentle. You know you're safe here, right? I know. Her voice went small. But the dreams still come. And in the dreams, the bad things find us anyway. Jinwoo's chest tightened. What kind of bad things? She whispered. Men who want to take us away. Who say we belong to the family now. Who say our gifts make us property. Ice flooded his veins. Did someone tell you that? No, I just know. The way I know when it's going to rain. Tears gathered. Am I broken, Dad? No. He pulled her into his lap, held tight. You're extraordinary. That gift, it's not a curse. It's your blood telling you to be careful. But it doesn't control you. You control it. How? By remembering what you see is possibility, not fate. The future isn't written. We get to choose. Zara buried her face in his shoulder. Promise you won't let them take us? I promise. Fierce. Absolute. No one takes you anywhere. You're my daughter. Mine and your mother's. And we protect what's ours. Jiho stopped pretending to do homework. The bad feeling is back, getting louder. Before Jinwoo could respond, his phone rang. His brother. Never good. Talk to me, Jinwoo answered. Uncle's gone rogue. 6 men, heavy weapons, heading your way. ETA 15 minutes. Jinwoo. He's not trying to kidnap them. He's trying to eliminate the problem. All of them. Everything went cold and sharp and clear. Get the twins into the safe room, Jinwoo told Amara, his voice calm despite adrenaline. Now, don't open it for anyone except me or my brother. She didn't waste time with questions. Just moved. Son, Jinwoo said to Jiho, your job is to protect your sister and your mother. Can you do that? The boy nodded, then asked, What's your job? Jinwoo met his son's eyes. My job is to make sure you never have to do mine. Understanding passed between them. Jiho ran to join his family. Jinwoo made 3 calls. Security team, Chen's people, police contacts. Then he took his gun and prepared for war. His uncle arrived with precision, multiple vehicles, coordinated timing, enough firepower to level the building. But Jinwoo had prepared. His security locked down the building. Chen's people surrounded the block. Jinwoo stood in the lobby, alone, waiting. His uncle entered through shattered glass doors, gun raised. You could have had everything, his uncle said, but you threw it away for them. No, Jinwoo replied. I rebuilt it for them. There's a difference. They've made you soft. They've made me dangerous in ways you can't comprehend. Jinwoo kept his hands visible. You're surrounded. Chen's people are on every roof. My security has your men targeted. Police arrive in 8 minutes. Enough time to end this quietly, or for a bloodbath that destroys our family's reputation. His uncle laughed, broken. You think I care about reputation? Those children represent everything wrong with your leadership. Mixed blood, foreign mother, weakness disguised as strength. Jinwoo's hand moved to his weapon. Choose your next words carefully. Or what? You'll kill me? Prove me right about how far you've fallen? No. Jinwoo's voice went quiet. I'll let them kill you. Red laser sights appeared on his uncle's chest. 6, then 10, then 20. Chen stepped from shadows. Mr. Kang, shall we conclude this business? His uncle's face went ashen. You brought outsiders into family business? I brought partners into cleaning up family trash. You stopped being family when you threatened my children. The standoff stretched. His uncle calculating odds, weighing pride against survival. This isn't over, his uncle said finally, lowering his weapon. Yes, Jinwoo said quietly. It is. Your choices are exile or execution. Choose. His uncle chose survival, chose to disappear into whatever life waited for defeated crime lords. Jinwoo felt nothing, no triumph, just cold certainty he'd do it again to keep his family safe. Jinwoo found them still in the safe room, Zara asleep against Amara's side, Jiho rigid and alert. It's over, Jinwoo said. Amara's eyes searched his face. Is he dead? No, exiled. No longer a threat. She looked at their sleeping daughter. This is our life now? Every few months another threat? Yes, Jinwoo admitted. Unless we rebuild everything. Not empire for empire's sake. Something different. Safer. Where our children inherit businesses, not wars. That would take years. I know. He took her hands. But I'm tired of building monuments to power. I want to build something that deserves them. Jiho spoke softly. That sounds good, Dad. Tomorrow, Jinwoo told his family, we start making real changes. No more wars. From now on, you are the empire. Everything else is just details. Amara kissed him, soft and fierce and full of promise. Okay, she whispered. Let's build something better. 5 years later, Jinwoo stood in their garden, not a fortress, just a house with enough security to sleep soundly. Zara practiced piano inside. Jiho studied coding. Their younger sister played in the sandbox, oblivious to the weight her siblings carried. Amara appeared beside him. Legitimate businesses up 30%, syndicate operations down to 10%. Good. He pulled her closer. 5 more years and we'll be completely clean. Inside, Zara hit a wrong note, laughed, started over. The sound was better than any empire Jinwoo had ever built. I love you, he told Amara. I know. She smiled. You show me every day. The gift whispered danger would come again, that men like him never truly escaped their pasts. But for now, they were safe. Together. Building something that mattered. Jinwoo finally understood real power, not controlling everything, just protecting what mattered most, even if it cost him the world. The end.